Hey guys, welcome back to Music Talk. I got that wrong the last time, so I got it right this time. And I'm going to stop doing this. I realized I was doing a lot of this in my last video, and I don't know why. So anyway, this is Allie. She's joining me again for part 2 of what?
Music Talk.
Part 2 of?
The Beatles.
The Beatles.
Oh.
Music Talk. So we are going to continue. We left off on Help last time, and we're going to pick up at Rubber Soul. And the reason I explained last time that I did that was because Rubber Soul was where the Beatles sound really made a significant change from that, I don't want to say teeny bopper, but it's, you know, the she loves this and she loves that. So they were on the road to change, and then Rubber Soul came along and really made that change. So we're going to continue Beatles part 2 in part of my record collection. So you ready? All right. She's distracted by a dog. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, comment. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of comments. We're talking about the Beatles. So ready to do it?
Yeah.
All right,
and
let's do
subscribe
it.
to my channel too.
Okay, well, she wants you to subscribe to her channel, but we'll get there. Lord. Okay, all right, so let's go. All right, so we're back. So here we are. We are going to begin with which album? Rubber Soul. I don't know what that means, but there was a Rubber Soul. So there's Rubber Soul. This album came out. When did this album come out?
1965.
1965. And let's see, big hits on here. Norwegian Wood, and this is where I'm talking about where the Beatles sound really started to change. Norwegian Wood was, from what I read, the first song in the States, Western civilization, that featured a sitar on a recording. So, and that would be George Harrison, who was checking out the sitar and learning it, and he played it on Norwegian Wood. Then we have Nowhere Man, which is another great song. In My Life, great song. I think that song was way ahead of its time for 1965. And so that's Rubber Soul. This is where the Beatles started to change, and that was what, 65 we said? Mm-hmm. That's pretty early too, because I think they started in about 63 becoming popular. So in 65 they were already on their way. But then again, the Beatles were only around from what, 63 to 70. So there's a lot of changes in a very short period of time. They were definitely pushing it. So
they only made stuff until 1970?
No, just 1970 was their last album. So they did a lot of music in a short period of time. All right, the next one here is Revolver. This came out when? When did Revolver come out?
1966.
1966. And it's a lot of people were like saying, yeah, these are the two albums to get right here. That's where you start with the Beatles. And you can either go before or after, but this is where the big stuff started happening. These two are considered, a lot of people consider these their favorite albums. So Revolver had, what version do I have of Revolver? It's definitely not an original. No, we don't even know. I thought I put it down there, but not sure what this is. There's not even a date on it, so not sure. Anyway, so on this, the song Taxman, and remember I told you before that song Taxman reminded me of another song. Do you remember that? It's a Batman from the 60s. Oh, yeah. And the only part that reminded me, every time I hear Taxman or I hear the Batman theme from the 60s, I think of either song, because there's a part in Batman where like, da-na-na-na-na-na-na, Batman, yeah. Right? And in Taxman, they go, Taxman. So, I don't know, for some reason, I just think of that Batman song. So, Taxman is forever ruined for me. But on Revolver, you had, yeah, because I just hear Batman every time, but I still like the song. Anyway, Eleanor Rigby's on here, which was a huge just move forward for the Beatles, I thought, with the way it was produced. It's just orchestration with Paul McCartney singing with it, so it's just amazing. And then Yellow Submarine is here, which leads later to a soundtrack, remember? The song Yellow Submarine led to an animated feature film. Okay. And let's see, Good Day Sunshine's on here. That song reminds me of something that could easily fit on an upcoming album here, Sgt Pepper, definitely. And let's see, 401, I want to tell you, got to get you in my life. Got to get you into my life. That song. Okay, so that's Revolver. The next one, and like I said, that other song could fit on this album very easily, and this was Sgt Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Not a bad song on here. Huge array of styles and music on here. It's just crazy what they did on this album. Went psychedelic, and then they went old school with some of Paul McCartney's mother style of music that she listened to with what is it? When I'm 64. And if you ever saw the movie The World According to Garp, that was the song in the very beginning of there, where they had there was a naked baby going up and down, up and down, up and in. Oh, it's a boy. So, yeah. Anyway, so this is Sgt. Pepper. I mean, the songs on this, obviously Sgt. Pepper, the beginning, and then there was Sgt. Pepper reprise, and then in between there you had A Little Help With My Friends, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Getting Better, Fixing a Hole. I mean, just a ton of songs, and it ends with A Day in the Life, which is just this amazing song with orchestration at the very end. And I felt that was a little bit ahead of its time too, really, for that sound. But there's that. And when did this album come out? There's the boys.
1967.
67.
And your probably was in 2012 reissue.
2012. So it's a reissue. And the lyrics are on the back. So definitely a great album. It's hard for me to ever even recommend a Beatles album because it depends on what mood I'm in, and they're all great. So then the next one after that, they kind of continued their psychedelic deal with this, and this all Magical Mystery Tour, and this one always I thought it reminded me like a soundtrack album. I don't know why, just the way it's put together, but it's just a basic regular Beatles album. I don't know if it's because they're all in these masks and this weird stuff going on there. But, yeah, they're all wearing masks in here. There's the walrus and all that stuff.
I didn't realize that.
So, yeah, it's got that funky back there, like a lot of your psych records have, with these kaleidoscope-looking things. And this album, what year did this album come out in?
1967.
1967. So, and this is why I like albums, because there's always little hidden gems in here. So, I think I told you this story before. This album, the reissue, came with a book. And it just has all these things the guys playing, and little cartoons. I'm not really sure what all this stuff is, but one thing in particular that stuck out was this picture right here, just on the inside. We have Paul McCartney dressed in some kind of military outfit or whatever. So when I bought this album and I opened this, I said, man, that picture looks familiar. Well, when I get records that are given to me as gifts, and there's always little odds and ends in those gifts. Some stuff that doesn't even belong with anything that's in the box, but I keep it. I got a lyric sheet from Neil Young's After the Gold Rush with all the lyrics that's supposed to be in there. After the Gold Rush wasn't in there, but the lyric sheet was, so I kept it. And it's actually a poster. But anyway, this was in there, which matched what I just showed you. And this is from, I believe, the original Magical Mystery Tour album. This was put in there. So the other one I have is like a replica of it, but this was the original, as far as I know. But it's old, and it has the similar pictures. It has the cartoons going on in there.
So this is kind of like the book and that yellow one's like the poster?
Yeah, well, all this is, the one in here is the remake of this book. They redid it, and it looks like this one in here is a little thicker, so it looks like they possibly added some stuff to it and kept the original pictures. So I just slid it in here with my copy. So pretty cool. Next one, big one. This was called what? The Black Album?
The White Album.
Oh, the White Album, that's right. It's actually called The Beatles. I called it the White Album forever, and I realized it's actually just The Beatles, but it was known because of it being white. And so what year did that come out?
1968.
1968. There we go. So that's the Beatles' White Album. I mean, there's how many songs?
Your copies are 2018.
2018. My copy's 2018. And how many songs are there? There's a ton of songs on here. I mean, it's just crazy.
30?
Is it 30? And you have big hits here with Back in USSR, Obla Di, Obla Da, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and who played guitar on that? Who was the guest star?
Oh,
What he thinks
forgot
about it.
his name.
Blackbird is on this. Rocky Raccoon, silly song, but I still like Rocky Raccoon.
I don't know who we're talking about.
Birthday, she'll get it. She's gonna get it. Come on, famous guitar player from the '60s.
Eric Clapton.
Eric Clapton. It was it. And why did you get in trouble with that song?
Because he released the song before it was out.
Sort of released
he,
it.
He like played it. So he played part of the album somewhere
At a party.
at a party, and then he got in trouble for it.
Who was mad at him?
Was it like George or Paul?
George. Yeah, George and Eric were pretty tight. So yeah, all those songs, Helter Skelter's on here, which is a great song, and Revolution 9, which is a really strange song, and it ends with a very nice lullaby with Ringo singing it, Good Night. And it's like a lullaby. It's a very, very sweet song. I also have this. It's the White Album, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, the Escher demo. So it has a remastered version of the White Album, and it also has album in here with demos and all the little things that made up the White Album. So I don't usually get these.
Demos, like songs that are not released.
Yeah, demo is saying, hey, here's how the song should sound, but it's not completely recorded. It's like, oh, I came up with a song idea and I recorded it quickly at home or something, just to get the idea down so you don't lose it. So this is a cool little box set also. I'll go through it very quickly. It comes with a little fold out in here. She's very bored with the Beatles. Actually, it's a poster, so it has lyrics here and pictures and kind of a Beatles collage in here. I'm not going to open it all the way up. And then you have a book just talking about that, and
I'm not even tired.
she's not even tired. And it's just information about the White Album and how it kind of came together. And like I said, you have, I believe it's just a 2-record. Well, it's 2 records, but they're both double sets. So you have the White Album because it had 30 songs, so it's 2 albums, and then you have another 2 albums that are all the demos and things. So we can play that later.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's kind of cool because you're like a fly on the wall to see how the Beatles are
It
putting
has
stuff
all the
together.
Beatles on the front too.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is Yellow Submarine. This came out in what year?
Did it? 1969.
1969, Yellow Submarine. And that song, like we said, was released earlier on a different album, but somebody got the idea to do an animated movie on it. So they took the song, and the first song on here is Yellow Submarine. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Behind you too.
Yeah, it's not Lego. It's kind of falling down a little bit. But it's a Yellow Submarine theme here. My little John Lennon, he's hanging out. Yeah, there, and then there's a soundtrack here. So this one's a little bit different. But on here, the first side is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Beatles songs. And then on the other side is completely George Martin instrumentals for the film. And then you had this come out later on CD. It's a little bit different version. And it has, looks like the same thing, Yellow Submarine. This has Hey Bulldog, so it's in a little bit slightly different order. But there's 15 tracks on here. And what I say, 6, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 on this album and 15 here, so CD, they had a little more room to add stuff. So anyway, Yellow Submarine, never saw it. I haven't really seen any of the Beatles movies, to be honest with you. I don't beat me up over it, but I was more interested in the music. I just wasn't really interested in the movies, but I probably should go back and watch them. So anyway, Beatles, Yellow Submarine, 69. Then another big one, iconic album cover is right there, Abbey Road. And this was 69 also?
Yes.
69. And another one, not a bad song on here. Come Together, Something, Maxwell Silver Hammer, I Want You, Here Comes the Sun.
I like that one.
Here Comes the Sun? Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah.
She Came In Through the Bathroom Window. And then you had Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight. And I think even the end, they were all together. And that combination of songs is actually what Billy Joel had in mind when he wrote Scenes from Italian Restaurant. He wanted different parts to a song, and that's what the Beatles did. Supposedly, they're saying that they had these 3 different song ideas, and what are we going to do with them? They're not complete, so they mashed them together and made this whole thing. But anyway, that's where Billy Joel got scenes from an Italian restaurant. There's some cool interviews with Billy Joel talking about that. Beatles were a big influence.
That's your 2012 reissue.
Oh, it's a 2012 reissue? Okay. Then, I don't have it on album, but then Hey Jude was released, an American album, and it had songs, so it's more like a compilation. And it had Can't Buy Me Love, so obviously that's very early Beatles. Paperback Writer, which I think was only like a B-side. I don't think it was on an album. Revolution, the song Hey Jude, Old Brown Shoe, the Ballad of John and Yoko. Those are on here, so just showing you that. These are cool. These are, I don't know if I showed it in the other video, but they look like little albums, and they have little sleeves, and they're set up to replicate the actual album. So it's pretty cool.
You did.
I might have, yeah. So that one's in there. It's pretty cool. And that leads us up to the last album. Now, one thing I was going to bring up is a lot of people, which is, what's the last album? Let It Be?
Yeah.
70?
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of people fight over this or have discussions about which one was the last Beatles album, because when Disney Plus put out that series, 3-part series, I believe, showing the Beatles during their last days and the rooftop concert and all that, which was this. But there's a lot of discussion about which album was the last album. Now, to me, this is a more complete, feels like a Beatles album. This one, yes, it's great songs, but it feels a little more patched together to me.
You said also there's not a bad song on this album.
Yeah, there's not a bad song on this album. So, but they recorded them at the same time, and they just took this, made it a complete album, and then they were like, the Beatles are breaking up, so here comes Let It Be. So it's interesting, but I think, and a lot of people want to say it was Abbey Road because the very last song is The End on Abbey Road, so they want to say that's the last Beatles song because it's the end. But officially, this was the last album.
They should have put The End on this album.
Yeah, well, maybe they didn't know it was the end. Who knows? So anyway, the songs on this, Two of Us, Dig a Pony, Across the Universe, big song. I've Got a Feeling is a great song, Long and Winding Road, and Get Back. I mean, and it's cool because in the Disney Plus episode, you can see Paul actually creating it right in front of you. They recorded it. He's like on that bass coming up at the main line for Get Back, so it's amazing. So anyway, that's that one. That's the last Beatles album. So that's the core catalog. One album that they put in here that they still consider part of the core catalog. Well, before I get to that, sorry, I almost forgot this. But they released this later, and this was Let It Be Naked. And what this was just the Beatles, the raw instruments without the orchestration. If I have it
sort
correct.
Like without the auto-tune almost?
Huh?
Sort of like without auto-tune?
No. What happened with this album, it was kind of getting pieced together while the Beatles were breaking up. And I believe it was Phil Spector who came in. He's a famous producer. And I can't forget to mention Billy Preston is on this album. He does all the keyboards and just amazing. But sorry.
He's not part of the Beatles.
No, but they brought him in. Eric Clapton wasn't either, but they brought him in. It was a big honor to be part of the Beatles, believe me. So, anyway, so this has parts like the Long and Winding Road and things like that have Phil Spector went in without the Beatles, took their recordings and added instrumentation to it and orchestra and things like that. Wake up. Okay. A lot of people don't like it. They like their traditionalists. They like their Let It Be. I like this one. It's very raw, very rock and roll, and it's without the instrumentation. And what was cool with this, it was a 2-disc set. Look, it's hiding. There's one back there.
Okay. I've seen that a lot in like movies.
See that little fly? So it was called Let It Be Naked, Fly on the Wall. And it was just basically the Beatles conversation. And I don't know if that conversation is what you actually see in that documentary on Disney Plus.
That's disc 1 and the other one's disc 2.
Yeah, so this is the actual album, and then you have an extra disc, which is you hear them talking and discussing the album. It's just the whole side of them talking, which is great. So that's Let It Be Naked. They call it Naked because it was naked. That was it. The one thing they do consider part of the core catalog, what I've seen is Past Masters, and I believe these are a lot of B-side 45s or 45s that were released and not put on albums. You had Day Tripper, We Can Work It Out, Paperback Writers on this. There is Get Back, which is on Let It Be. So and then Let It Be's on there. So that's there. And then they came out with a past. Oh, wait a minute. So I did that wrong. I apologize. This is Past Masters. I was telling you about Past Masters too. This is Past Masters, which they consider part of the core catalog. And I don't know if they consider both of these together or just that one. I didn't do that much research. But anyway, it starts with Love Me Do. It works its way through Long Tall Sally, I Call Your Name, Matchbox, Yes It Is. So this seems to me a lot of songs that weren't on albums. Plus, they had some cool features where they have Love Me Do, but then they have German, where I believe they sing in German for those releases. They actually sing their songs in German and they released it that way. Right. Well, there's a song Michel, and Paul McCartney sings in French. And I think that's where Billy Joel got his idea off of Glass Houses on You Are the One, where Billy Joel sings in French. I have a pretty good suspicion that Billy Joel got that idea from this.
I've never heard any of this.
Yeah.
I know the Beatles and Billy Joel, and I've never heard either one of them sing in a different language.
Yeah, so they do. And so I'll play that for you later, but yeah, they are singing in German. I'm pretty sure that was the language. Then, the rest of these are just compilations, but just so you know, I'm going through what I have. So this is the first time I've really brought CDs into my, that's why I call it Music Talk. So I'm not just talking about vinyl. But you had this set, and it probably looks familiar, where you had the Beatles when they were younger, and then Beatles when they're older, right there.
What?
So yeah, it's the same picture, same place, but the Beatles are all nice and clean cut there, and here they're all long-haired hippies.
Is this the older one?
That's all in. Yep, see? So this was the Beatles 62 to 66, and this was Beatles 67 to 70. And this one starts with Love Me Do, Please Please Me, and works its way through Paperback Writer, Eleanor Rigby, and Yellow Submarine, where the Beatles were really making those changes. Norwegian Wood's on here, and then you get into the other definite side of the Beatles where it's Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane, and it works it all the way through those last songs on Let It Be, with Let It Be, Across the Universe, and The Long and Winding Road is that. So this is a good place to start if you want to get into the Beatles, but to me, every Beatles album is a greatest hits. Even if I feel like there's songs they put on there and not as good as the other ones, it's still good. It's the Beatles. The other one I picked this up somewhere along the way. It's called the Beatles Tapes, and it's just all interviews, but they broke it down to John Lennon with Yoko Ono interviews, and there's Paul McCartney interviews, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr interview. So that I have in there. And then last...
Is that him Starr?
Yeah. Richard Starkey was his real name, so he changed it to Ringo Starr. Then the last one that's the bad boy there, and they actually have this on vinyl, and it's so much. I don't know if I'd ever want this on vinyl so much, and I don't really, that White Album thing I have there is sort of an exception. I don't usually get demos on album because I just want to put an album on and listen to music. I don't really want to hear them working it through, so I think that's what CDs are for. So this was the anthology that came out, well, before you were born. This has been around longer than you.
I was...
Yeah, this came out in the 90s.
4.
Yeah, 2004. This was like 90s. When did this come out?
Oh, this came out before I was born.
This was 96 that this came out.
Oh,
well, yeah, all this music came out, yeah.
Before I was
Well, actually,
born.
that music came out before I was born. Even their last album, the Beatles, were broken up before I was born.
2 years before you were born.
Yeah, 2 years. Hey, don't tell them my age. I'm 4. Okay, anyway, so there was the anthology series. What was cool about this, and it's just chock full of stuff here, and this first one starts off with Free as a Bird, and it was a John Lennon demo, unfinished song that John Lennon started, and the Beatles wanted to release something new. John was already passed, George was still alive at the time, so they took that demo and they added their parts to it to make it a Beatles song. So the spirit of John was there, which was kind of cool. And this one it's a 2-disc on this one. First one has 34 songs, the second one has 26. There's a lot of music on here. And it's the Beatles starting off, I think, like in Paul's basement somewhere. This is a single. They did a second song called Real Love, and it was another John Lennon song, and they put it at the beginning of Anthology 2.
Why did they put...
Because they wanted to kind of release new stuff, but John wasn't around, so they, Yoko, I guess, gave him permission to use some songs, and again, they sort of, took the song and finished it up for John, and it was kind of like the Beatles.
Aren't there only 2 Beatles left?
There's only 2 left. And then Anthology 3, that's just the ending of it. A lot of it starts with a white album, it looks like. And that was Anthology 3. So that is it. That's the Beatles collection. I have, a fair amount. I think I have my bases covered. I'd like to get a little, couple original albums. They're out there, but I'm trying to find them in good condition. I haven't really found anything that I'm real thrilled about the condition with. But that's the Beatles. And so that's where we are. And what we're going to do is next time we're going to go ahead and I'll start with Beck to continue my album collection, right? So what did you think about the Beatles?
I like them.
Yeah.
They're one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
I don't listen to them as much as my dad does, but
You don't listen to. Well, you listen to a lot of music. You listen to music every day.
yeah.
So anyway, she got through it. What's your channel?
Allie's Journey.
Allie's Journey on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Okay. She's also on Instagram, and it's Allie's _Journey_.
Yes.
Okay. So
All lowercase.
she's gonna have to remind me,
space.
but hopefully it's down in the description.
Yeah.
Yes. So, all right, cool. So, thanks for watching again. Please hit that subscribe button, the like button, because I want people to like
hit the
me.
bell.
And hit the bell so you know when I'm back. And feel free to comment. It's the Beatles, so whatever you have to say, definitely like to discuss it. If there's something I left out, I want to hear it because I love hearing about the Beatles. So, anyway, that's it. All right? Okay. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.